Okay, so I want to tell a little story about this guy I met once and knew a little bit named Keith. Keith Orlando Harris. I ran into Keith one day when I was doing my laundry at the Laundrolux in Deer Park. And I just started randomly talking to him. And before I know it, I'm talking to him for like half an hour, 40 minutes or something, while waiting for our clothes to finish washing. And even though this guy was from San Francisco, somehow he ends up in a laundromat in Deer Park, New York. I don't know how that happened, but yeah, he seemed like a pretty cool guy. Whatever, we're getting along pretty well. And I even told him that I was a rapper. I played him some of my songs. He was like loving that shit. He's like bobbing his head and like, oh, man, this is good, man. And he was like this black guy, kind of like a gay black guy, or maybe he was bi or something like that. And he's one of those black guys you would say is like really, really white, like your guy's black in name only. And yeah, he was a pretty interesting guy. He'd done, because you know, a lot of black Americans don't travel overseas. It's not racist, it's the truth. Look it up. Even a lot of rich black people that could travel anywhere they want choose to travel in the U.S. They would rather go to Las Vegas or South Beach than Paris or London. It's just a cultural thing, I guess. But he was one of the exceptions. This guy traveled all over the world. He lived in Asia. He was like an English teacher in China or Japan or something like that. Very well traveled, interesting guy. And then, he leaves, goes back to San Francisco, Asia, whatever. And I barely spoke to him again after that. But I still kind of followed him on Facebook because, he added me. And I followed his adventures and his travels, going to this country or that country. And then this one day, he comes out with this whole video. It's basically a movie, right? That, like, he produced himself. And it's about this girl that dumped him, right? She, like, cheated on him and dumped him. Girl sounded like a total bitch. Like some girl he dated in China, this Chinese girl. And the whole thing is about, I swear to God, he literally flew from one city in like Asia to the next. I don't know how the fuck he had the money to do this. This guy must have been loaded, right? But he'd go to Tokyo, get down on one knee in the airport and like beg for her back. Then he'd fly to Beijing and be like, "Sweetie, I'm in Beijing now. I'm on my knees again. Please come back to me." And I'm thinking, like, what the fuck? Didn't she cheat on you and dump you? Why are you doing this? It's not like you hurt her and you need her forgiveness. What the fuck is wrong with this guy? And then he goes to like this city and that city. And by the time he finished traveling around Asia, I'm like, this guy's a total fucking simp. Like, this shit is pathetic. Like, who would do something like that? Even if you were rich enough to be able to afford to do that, just to get a girl back, why? You were like the world's biggest pussy. And like a few weeks or whatever later, he actually messages me and asks me my opinion on what I think. And I told him the truth. What I just said, like, that was some of the most pathetic shit I've ever seen. Why in the world would you do that? What is wrong with you, bro? I don't mean to be an asshole, but you just embarrassed yourself in front of the entire world. And he didn't really respond. I guess he was too insulted to write back. And then he like fucking deletes me off of Facebook. And this guy was not happy at my opinion. And then I find out like months later, the whole thing was a fucking movie. None of it was real. His girlfriend didn't dump him. Like, he wasn't actually flying around Asia just to win her back. He was flying around Asia, but it was part of the film. It was part of the plot. And I kind of felt like a total asshole. I mean, how was I supposed to know it was a movie? It looked real. Holy shit. Like, if I had known that, I would have been like, oh, that's kind of an original idea. The movie was kind of cool. But if it wasn't, you're a fucking faggot. Like, oh, wow. Oops. But, yeah, that was my little story about the guy Keith that I met in the laundromat. Well traveled, like Marco Polo, been all over the world. And how he asked me my opinion about him flying all over Asia just to win a girl back, and I told him it was retarded. And he was a loser for doing it. And it turned out it wasn't even real. It was a movie. What a time. What a fucking time.